There's a jacked guy in a suit who plays Call of Duty and reacts to the news on Twitch for a living, sometimes in high heels. Hasan Piker. This week, the State Department put his name on an official government report a few pages away from armed guerrilla groups that kidnapped diplomats and bombed federal buildings. No, I'm not kidding. The report names around 43 people and organizations, including a sitting big city mayor, the co-founder of Ben & Jerry's, the host of Democracy Now!, and a congresswoman's daughter. It's filed as a report about Cuba, but if you read it for 10 minutes, you figure out what it actually is. It's a list of Americans the federal government doesn't like. This is Off the Clock, one story a week, and I actually read the whole thing, so you don't have to. The report runs 100 pages, and it contains some truths that get no argument from me. For example, Cuba did run one of the most effective spy operations this country ever ran into. Ana Montez sat inside the Defense Intelligence Agency for 16 years as America's top analyst on Cuba while she was working for Cuba. The WASP network got Americans killed off the coast of Florida. A career diplomat named Victor Rocha fled Havana for decades. Now, if the documents stopped there, it'd be a history lesson. But it doesn't stop there, because at some point, it stops talking about spies who stole secrets and starts talking about citizens who hold opinions, and it files them under the same heading. So how do you actually land on the list? It doesn't involve passing classified documents. No, all you have to do is criticize U.S. policy toward Cuba, or go visit it. Isra Hersey took a solidarity trip and posted that it changed her life. On the list. Ben Cohen, one half of Ben & Jerry's, got photographed at a lefty organizer's wedding. On the list. And then Hasan called the 60-year embargo economic terrorism and made a documentary about it. On the list, filed next to the guerrillas. The mayor of Los Angeles is also on this list. Karen Bass, named for the Cuba solidarity trip she helped run decades ago. If you live in this city, the State Department just filed your own mayor under foreign influence. Writing about the Democratic Socialists of America, the single biggest name on the list, the State Department says their loyalty to Cuba exists, and I'm quoting, not because the group is controlled by Cuban agents per se. No handler, no orders, no money changing hands, and they said so in their own report. Then they listed them anyway. So what's the crime? Agreeing with Cuba out loud? Believing the wrong thing about the wrong country? Thing is, once you're allowed to do that, criticizing the government's foreign policy counts as foreign influence, you can sweep in almost anything. And this report does. The George Floyd protests show up in there, as well as anti-ICE organizing and the campus protests over Gaza. Reading it, I'll be honest, you can see the State Department engaging with more far-left theory than most actual leftists I know. They footnote Jacobin, they cite the Tricontinental Conference, they know what Pochissimo means. Somewhere out there, a 22-year-old DSA card is getting credited with a level of global coordination they could not pull off for a group dinner. Now, as I said, there is some truth in the report. Last year, a cell showed up at an ICE facility in Alvarado, Texas, with rifles and body armor, set off explosives, and shot an officer. A person got hurt. That happened. And picking up a rifle is a different act than picking up a camera. I'm not going to pretend those two things are the same, because they're not. But here's the thing. The government already had everything it needed to deal with the people who brought the rifles. So the report wasn't for them. What it actually does is take those cases to use them as wrapping paper. Then tucks a mayor's opinion and a streamer's documentary inside the same box. It hands you the person with the gun and the person with the podcast like they're on the same team and that they're one threat. Blurring them is the whole point. The report tells you where it got the idea. It reaches back to the 1950s to bring up the blacklists, McCarthy-era investigations and prosecutions of that era, and notes how well they worked. In 1947, the Communist Party USA had more than 75,000 members. By 1959, after the blacklists, only 5,000 survived. State Department put that collapse in the report as a win. But blacklists don't just affect the names listed. It works on the union organizer who now reads the letter twice before he signs, the grad student who skips the trip, the small streamer who decides it's a good day to talk about something safe. You don't have to arrest anyone. You just publish the names, point at McCarthyism as the good old days, and let everyone else do the flinching for you. It's a fear at scale sold wholesale. And this is the part that should land no matter where you sit. A government that keeps a list of its citizens sorted by their politics does not check your voter registration before it adds the next page. That tool does not care who built it. It outlasts whoever's holding it right now, and it gets handed to the next administration. And the next one always shows up with its own list and its own idea of who belongs on it. So the only real questions left are what you call a government that keeps a list of its own citizens' beliefs, and what you think ends up on the next iteration. This is the first off the clock. If you want the next one, subscribe. That's the whole ask.